So check it out. Here's what happened, D. When I started this, I was such a beta, inexperienced dude who had no experience whatsoever. So when I finally met a chick at 30 off the apps who was like willing to even go on a date, I had no idea like how any of it worked. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't.
You know, I appreciate you being raw and authentic, sharing your story. It's a little bit windy today, guys, but don't worry. He'll edit the sound and we'll get it going. But thank you for, letting other people know the journey of ethnic guy, especially as you're a minority in the West, that your dating market is not as good as somebody who's like white or black who has advantage with the media. But, if you're Asian or brown, Middle Eastern or Spanish, you're gonna have to put a little bit more work in. So we're just gonna have a little bit of a disclosure beforehand.
That was what was happening with me because I'd gone through my entire life like living in England, and there was really just not a whole lot of opportunities to meet women. There was just not a lot of frame and receptivity that I was having at all. So I was kind of like just going through my life and nothing was happening. There was no dates, there was no matches, there was just genuinely no interest. And part of it was mental health things going on, but part of it was also just like really not understanding how this works and understanding that like if you are at a deficit in your receptivity, and if you are in an environment where like you're not considered like the most desirable option, then if you don't wake up to that shit and learn how to make it work,
right,
this is what happens. So
I would say also with social dynamics, attraction dynamics, even media representation dynamics too. How the media represents you is gonna play a big role in what you get in return for like what we call frame, aka receptivity, whether it's going to be strong, bullshit, or basically non-existent, and you have to work a bit harder to get a little bit of attraction.
There was none of that in my favor at that time, in history, going back years. But when I finally came to deal with it at 30 and I decided, look, man, this is not going to get better unless I really do something about it, I went all in. And I basically put myself, under the challenge where I said to myself, either I fix this shit or I die trying. And I switched my whole life up, right? I was working as a project manager at that time and I decided, you know what, this ain't gonna fix itself. So I reduced my work hours to half, part-time. I was in the streets at 4 or 5 hours a day, not knowing what the fuck I'm doing, using the apps, not knowing what the fuck I'm doing. Anyway, finally, man, after like months of grinding, I finally got like a date with a girl who, I don't even know, dude, like, I was open with her, look, I'm not looking for anything serious, man. I really haven't been doing a whole lot of this. And she was like, yeah, good, that's fine. I'm not looking for nothing serious too. And we went on a first coffee date, and at that point in my journey, this is like 5 years ago, most dates I do, first dates, I never speak to them again. They just ghost me. For whatever reason.
Just like automatic ghost, no hi, text, did you try to reach out, nothing?
Nothing, it was just over.
Damn,
yeah, that was at the start. Yeah.
I could tell, let's keep it for another time, but
yeah.
We could tell stories about my friends where they put no effort into the date, but because he's a different ethnicity, she'll chase him and text him back.
Yeah. So I really wasn't working with any frame, but at that time, like, for whatever reason, she was like, I don't know what it was, but she was like, she liked me enough as a person, so we went on a second date. And then like things were fun. Like I pulled her back, made out a little. She was sweet, she was nice. She was from Denmark, so she went back to Denmark for a few weeks and didn't see her. But then
so would you say she wasn't as brainwashed or racist towards who you are as an individual?
Yeah,
That's good. Open-minded.
What it was she was not from London for a start. She was from Denmark.
That's a big thing right there, because London is basically kind of biased towards Indian or ethnically brown men in general.
Yeah, I'd say most of the UK is. Most of the UK, it's going to be more difficult.
Right.
But anyway, she just moved there, so she hadn't really been around a whole lot of different people. She was still getting to know the place, and she was open-minded. She was from a different country entirely.
Correct.
Second date happens, and make out a little. Third date, I'm so unbelievably clueless and this is
really went. So you went on all those dates, or you just your mind was that fucked up, or you were hoping? Or?
I didn't know what to really do, or like how.
Let me just keep going.
Just keep going. Okay. Just keep going.
That's one good mindset. I always respected you, even before you've gotten a little bit good and better to where you are now. You just never gave up, no matter how bad the odds were stacked all against you. I always admire your accountability, your ferocity, as a man, and your ability to just stay so diligent and resilient against literally like strikes against you.
Yeah. And that started, when I finally got like my fourth date with her, man, I was so fucking clueless that like she texted me saying, all right, Ravi, our fourth date's going to be come into a cafe. We're going to go to a Danish cafe. We're going to get Danish pastries. Then I'm going to take you to the museum. And then after that, I want you to come back to my place.
Hold on, wait, huh?
Yes.
So she
pulled me.
she led the things for your ass.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah,
Damn, bro.
But she basically, she was dropping hints, yeah. I wasn't
I get it.
physically escalating.
I'm just used to our white buddies getting that kind of treatment.
They do. But in this case, bro, I think she could tell.
You were like nervous?
I think she could tell that I'm not going to do it.
Oh.
I'm not going to escalate. So she just, but that was after 4 dates.
I get what you mean. So
right?
she was open to you, attracted to you, but then she was just like, I like this guy, but I can't, I got to make the move now.
I got to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah.
It happens by, let me just pause it for a second. So this happens by 2 ways. Way number one is by attraction difference. What I mean by attraction different, if you are higher on the social hierarchy, I've seen it many times where a minority woman will chase a regular schmegular, you know, white individual. I'm not trying to bash our
couple guys in our program that. Shout out to them.
We got white clients out there. We just want to tell the truth. So no disrespect to our, you know, our white brethrens. That I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. Where the minority girl will pitch the date, will say, "Where do you live?" She'll just make it easier for him because she already sees him as attractive and as a bonus climbing up the social hierarchy.
Yeah.
So I just wanted the viewers to let them know that if you don't have that kind of bonus and you're at a deficit in attraction because of the media representation, you're gonna have to do better than that.
This was a basic miracle for me because this, after 4, she kind of pulled me, and this is how I lost my virginity.
Holy shit.
Yes. Dude, I was such a fucking cuck, bro. I lived my whole life.
Bro. So you telling me like a girl banged you?
Yes, bro. Yes. And if she didn't, bro, I would. You understand? I had 30 years. I didn't talk to a girl.
Jump off Brooklyn Bridge.
That type of shit.
Right.
That was what was going on for me, right? I was in a terrible headspace. I was like, had no self-confidence. That's where it gets you to. That's where it got you to, right? If you. So the point here is this, right? I was that fucking clueless. Yeah. And after I banged her, you know, we hung out a few more times after that, and then she ghosted, and I was devastated.
Yeah, of course, because that was like your first like emotional moment. You know, your connection, and she didn't see you as that guy. She thought you was attractive probably because of your height advantage and all this other stuff.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. We're not going to get into it too much, but I think one good thing to diagnose from this story and this raw moment of truth is just let them know about the reality of the journey being, you know, ethnic in the dating market, especially in the West, from you before and now, the truths.
Yeah, so
drop and the way of what they need to do.
Put it this way. If you aren't someone who's naturally pre-selected, what you then have to do is you have to make this happen. Okay, you actually have to like engage with this directly and break it down and decide what you want. And then you have to go on a journey to make yourself the kind of person who can succeed in dating, become he who can.
Gotta lead. Don't let her lead.
Become he who can. The reason why I entered this position where I had no experience, because I didn't have opportunities. There wasn't receptivity. And it just kept going year after year after year to where I basically ended up having to get pulled by my first fucking lane. Okay. Now, the reality of the situation is I woke up to that. When she didn't want to see me again, I understood. I've got a very deep problem. And someone, you know, put it to me, bro, what happened is she liked you enough to bang you once, but she knows you're a beta. Okay.
Yeah, just like a cuck or soft kind of guy.
And because I don't already have pre-selection, there's not enough SMV, there's not enough already like desirability.
Through other methods, whether it's like your status, getting more in shape. What I mean by increasing status, getting a better job, living in a, you know, in a decent area, getting a title attached to you. Or, you know, getting your looks better, getting in shape, getting your tattoos, building a certain archetype, or working on your confidence and masculinity. But as we tell all of our clients that we've met, you know, from before, that if they work on the status, the looks, the job, how many people we got that made like a lot of money but can't attract girl unless she's already attracted to him for superficial reasons. That's why I always say, like, work on what, like, sorry to cut you off, just because, you know, I get passionate about this. Work on the most important thing, which is your inner self to heal.
Your magnetism. So this is the thing. When I finally realized there's no way out, I'm going to have to really deal with this. It was at that point I went on all this crazy journey and learned, people have to wake up. This is not going to go away. If you end up in positions like this, you don't have magnetism. You don't have that energy. your internal psychology, who you are internally as a man, has got. Once you start to really open up your inner layers, there's a lot of flaws
Right.
there. There's insecurity there. There's doubt there. There's negative mindsets. There's traumas there. There's all sorts of shit there, yeah, that you're going to have to address. And the only way that my experiences got better, it was I humbled myself to admit my magnetism's not there, man.
You need help, which is guys don't want to drop their ego, which is why they're struggling. Or, as we meant our other hard cases or gentlemen, that they just like, well, you know, they like to get lucky. What we mean by get lucky is that she picks him every single time. And then they're like, well, Ravi, you know, this is my leg count. You know, I know what I'm doing. I'm like, bro,
I don't think so.
So that don't mean shit. You don't automatically.
Not at all, buddy. We'll see. We'll see what you made.
Yeah,
out of
exactly.
That, yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just waiting for her to scoop you up. Like, how is that being a man? How are you gonna have a wife? How are you gonna lead your relationship?
You're not going to have quality relationships. You're not going to attract the kind of women you're looking for.
Agreed.
But that's the point of this, yeah. So look, I'm saying this to you, yeah, to tell you, to go from there to a guy who's actually got some fucking presence. This took learning about this. There's 4 layers: nervous system, identity, confidence, inner game. If you find yourself in this kind of position, you've got quite the journey ahead of pushing every single one of those layers, probably for years, maybe 2, to get over to the other side. But on the other side is a magnetism that was naturally there.
Opportunities, aura.
All of that you're looking for.
A lot of people say this is woo-woo fucking
I don't think so.
Power Ranger rainbow bullshit, but you've seen with your own eyes.
Absolutely.
Definitely with me, every time when we go out, like our confidence cold approach training.
All
like,
day today.
Yeah. They don't need to know about how tough it was today. We'll drop it, but we're just saying that if she can sense that you're a man, she'll facilitate that energy around you and feel a way like, wow, why is he so alluring? So, you know, I'm just gonna say to the viewers that we appreciate you very much for being
appreciate you guys.
vulnerable. And if this story touched you and reached a pain point where you wanted to change who you are and not just wait there for some dumb luck, click the link below. Let's get magnetic and let's diagnose how we can help you heal. See ya.